Hey everyone, but this video is going to be kind of all over the place. I have a big channel announcement. We're going to get into doing kind of a first look on some mirrors for the SCX24 Blazer from CCHand. We're going to look at a simple, what I hope to be an effective suspension mod that is either free or cheap, depending on what you have laying around. I do want to say there's a lot of new subscribers. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed making these videos. If there's something else you want to see more of, feel free to comment and let me know. I'll get into the channel announcement at the very end of the video, so stick around for that. But first, we're just going to get right into looking at the mirrors for the Blazer. And here it is. I've had so much fun working on this thing and driving it around. It really has become one of my favorite vehicles. But, as you can tell, there's no side view mirrors. So the other day, I picked up a set of the CCHand Mirrors. I think they retail for about $13 or so. I feel like for what they are, they're expensive. That's how I feel about most CCHand things. However, everything is held up really well. Granted, I don't beat on this truck that much, but everything's held up really well. Fit, finish, everything is just top notch. So I felt like it was okay. I don't mind spending the money for these. Now they come with the two mirrors attached, so we'll just grab some side snips and cut that down, and a couple little reflective pieces to act as the actual mirror. So I think the first thing we're going to do is going to kind of hold them up to the body, make sure we get the right one there. Kind of decide where we want them. Obviously we don't want them too far forward or too far backwards. I actually think this is going to be a lot easier if we just remove the body. So I'm going to go ahead and just, we're just going to do that first. Alright, and unfortunately, I do have some lights wired up. I just don't feel like pulling all that apart, so we're just going to work with what we got here. What I'm thinking of doing, just to make it easy to mark the holes, is get them so this outside edge here lines up, this line here in the window. What I have is one of these drawing pens with a super fine tip on it, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide it over. Get everything lined up, and then just mark the hole there. So once we get the one in, it will be a lot easier. I'm just going to line it up just to make sure. I think that's going to be good. So I think before I get started on cutting any holes, we're going to go ahead and get just the reflective pieces. I just feel like it'll be a lot easier to do it now than later, so couldn't be easier really. Just get some like really fine tweezers. It's honestly just, it's so much easier than trying to use, fingers or, a pair of pliers or something. And there we have the mirror on. I'm just going to grab my pin vise. So the drill bit I'm using, I don't know the size, but it's basically just big enough for the screw to pass through. I'll line it up on that mark and just drill the hole. It doesn't take much pressure or effort, just kind of let the drill bit do the work. There we go. The mirrors come with two sets of bolts. You have these tiny little machine thread ones, and you have these little coarse thread ones. The machine thread are going to go through this first hole, the bigger hole, the one facing towards the front of the body. So we're going to go and slide one in. So right off the bat, one thing I definitely don't like about the kit is they use Phillips head screws, which, the entire car uses an Allen, or like a hex screw, and these use Phillips. So I have this size 000 Phillips screwdriver. This is from iFixit. So just be aware, if you plan on getting this kit, you will need a very, very small Phillips head screwdriver. Alright, not the easiest. Off camera, I just kind of got it started. So with the screw on the mirror, it should be a lot easier to hold on to. We just want to slide it right through that hole. And then on the other side, there's a tiny, tiny little nut that goes on the other side. So we're just going to go in real carefully. As far as I can tell, there's no real easy way to do this. All right, so it seems that just pinching it between your fingers definitely seems to be the way to go. You can kind of feel it as it's getting threaded on. So we're going to leave that just a little bit loose. The next thing we're going to have to do, and this might be a bit tricky, is there is a second hole where the self-tapping one goes in, and we're going to try to... Okay, I tried a number of different ways to get the that other hole marked, and I think honestly the easiest is just going to be with a pair of calipers. Measure more or less where the hole needs to be drilled, the spacing. It looks like we have just about 5.5 millimeters. So now what I'm going to do is, just on the inside of the body, measure out 5.5 millimeters And you probably can't see it too well, but there is a little mark right in there that's right about the 5.5 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and just drill another hole and hope it's close enough. And I decided to do a slightly bigger hole for this one, just so there is a little bit of extra room if I need to wiggle that screw around. Okay, same thing. We're going to grab that little cross, or the little self-tapping screw, try to get it lined up. Once it bites into the mirror, you'll feel it. And there we go. There is one mirror, and it's I think it's good. I think it's good enough. So now we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm not going to film it. It's the exact same process, but I will be right back when that mirror is on. All right, there we go. On this side, what I ended up doing was marking the holes before, whereas last time I drilled one hole, got one screw in, and then marked the other hole. This time I just marked them both at the same time. So, initial thoughts. They're definitely, I have a number of CCHand things on here, and these are definitely the most fiddly. Are they hard to get on? No. Just take your time, measure things out, try to get as careful as you can. I think they look great. I think mirrors really kind of step up the look of a truck really good. Are they worth the money that they ask? I would say if you have a 3D printer, and if you have maybe some modeling experience, it might be better just to print your own. Save the money. It's a pretty simple design. Yes, it comes with the hardware, but a lot of the hardware you could just reuse. If you have some spare screws from your SCX24, you could just use those again. I don't regret getting them. I would certainly recommend them with a caveat. Okay, but with that done, we are now going to move on to the next issue I have with this. I don't know if you've noticed, there's basically no front suspension. There's a little in the rear, there's none in the front. I added magnets for the front clip, and there's this big 3D printed mount with a couple of screws and some magnets on the front, and it weighs down the front of the truck to the point where there's just no suspension whatsoever. I was watching a video, and I wish I could link it. I tried looking for it, I could not find it. I'm very sorry if this is your idea. It's definitely not mine. But what they did was they added some O-rings on top of the springs here to act as a little preload spacer. So I went to Harbor Freight and I picked up this nitrile O-ring assortment kit. This, I believe, was like $5. So we are going to use these A006 size. We're going to add 2 per shock in the front. So we're going to take this, put that off to the side, bring the truck back over. It's a simple matter of removing the shocks, and we're going to take the tires off just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, now with that out of the way, we can very easily get to the shocks. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I said this is either a free mod or a very, very cheap mod. If you have this O-ring set laying around, it's free. But if not, like I didn't, it's only $4 or $5, and then you get, hundreds of extra O-rings that you may or may not need. With the shocks removed from the truck, I think the easiest way is going to be just to take the bottom spring retainer / shock mount off. All right, and there's the second one. So now we're just going to slide the spring and the upper spring retainer off. There we go. There's one, and there's the other. Now, as I mentioned before, we're just going to take 2 of these O-rings and just slide them right up there. And again, this is the same thing as just adding like a little plastic preload spacer, or if you have a pair of threaded shocks, just, threading that upper spring retainer down. However, since I don't have those, we are going to do it this way. And with the O-ring on, we're just going to put the bottom spring retainer back on. And with one shock done, we're just going to go ahead and do the other one. So you can tell there's just a couple of O-rings right here. That's all we did. So I'm going to grab the truck, put it back together. Okay. And now you can see we have, it's not much, but now we have a little bit more suspension movement in the front. Before it was completely compressed because of the weight, and now we have just a little bit. Super simple, super effective. So I wish I could give credit to whoever I saw the video from. Again, not my idea, but thank you. This was definitely needed. Thank you so much for watching. I hope someone at least found some of that information useful. I know I desperately needed that. My suspension in the front was just non-existent. Okay, now the channel update. Like I said in the beginning, I got a new job and it is across the country. So currently I'm living in Utah. However, originally I am from New England and I just got a new job back in New England. Starting tomorrow, the moving company's coming. We're gonna get packed up. We're gonna, beginning of next week, we're gonna be driving across the country to start our new lives in New England. So there will be a little bit of lull in content until I can start to get things back together and get settled and everything. I'm very sorry. I will be bringing this with me in the car. I'm hoping that during the drive across country, I will be able to find a few places to make a couple quick videos. We'll see. I won't have a computer or anything with me, so I unfortunately won't be able to edit them until we get kind of set up at our new place. So look forward to that in the next few weeks. Again, welcome to everybody who is new here. Thank you so much. I've so enjoyed doing this, and I really, really hope that I can keep providing content that people want to watch. But in the meantime, if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. I'm always trying to think of new video ideas like the off-road recovery or the camping trip. So if there's anything that you think would be a lot of fun, leave it in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys. Okay, thanks.